Okay, let's get into it. Donald Trump, in a continued effort to show us how great he's doing, how healthy he is, has put out another video in which he calls catching COVID a blessing from God. But the real worthiness of the news video is that Donald Trump looks terrible. He sounds terrible. He doesn't even seem to know what day it is or how long he was in the hospital. So let's look at it. This is nearly a 5-minute video. We're not going to look at all of it. But the first thing you notice as we just play some video without audio for our audience that's watching is that Donald Trump's face looks completely bruised. And I think that what they did is deliberately put him under a tree so that there's a shadow on his face from the branches. But that's not all that's going on. In other words, his right cheek seems bruised. His right eye is almost completely swollen shut for most of the video. His lips seem like the only thing on his face that don't have makeup, and they are absolutely white as a ghost. It's an image of a man not doing particularly well, despite claiming now for days that Trump has had no symptoms. But when you start listening to what Trump says, you can't help but notice that Donald Trump is cotton-mouthed, short of breath, and slurring even more than is usual for him. Let's look at the first clip.
Hi, perhaps you recognize me. It's your favorite president. And I'm standing in front of the Oval Office at the White House, which is always an exciting place to be. I got back a day ago from Walter Reed Medical Center. I spent 4 days there.
So it's already very strange because Trump says, I got back a day ago. Well, when this was released yesterday, Trump had already been back at the White House for 2 days. Now, maybe the explanation is simple. Maybe they filmed it Tuesday, but published it Wednesday. But then Donald Trump says he spent 4 days at Walter Reed. He didn't. Trump spent about 54 hours at Walter Reed. He didn't spend 4 days there. He didn't even spend parts of 4 days there. So again, it's raising questions of, is Trump okay? How connected to reality is Donald Trump? This continues. We'll skip ahead a little bit, and then you'll start to notice Donald Trump sounding hoarse and struggling to breathe again.
But I spent 4 days there, and I went in, I wasn't feeling so hot. And within a very short period of time, they gave me Regeneron. It's called Regeneron, and other things too, but I think this was the key. But they gave me Regeneron, and it was like unbelievable. I felt good immediately. I felt as good 3 days ago as I do now. So I just want to say we have Regeneron. We have a very similar drug from Eli Lilly, and they're coming out, and we're trying to get them on an emergency basis. We've authorized it. I've authorized it. And if you're in the hospital and you're feeling really bad, I think we're going to work it so that you get them and you're going to get them free. And especially if you're a senior, we're going to get you in there quick.
So this is interesting because as of this recording, somewhere between 10 and 25 people total in the entire country had received this antibody cocktail from Regeneron. Trump says he's going to give it for free to every senior in the hospital, maybe to everybody even. Now, maybe that's a nice idea. Remember, this is an unapproved antibody cocktail as of yet. But how do you get something that's been given to only 10 or 25 people total? How do you get that to every senior in the hospital with coronavirus for free? In any case, he says that there's many doses coming online. It's an interesting idea, but it doesn't seem to connect with reality. We continue. Donald Trump briefly says vaccines are coming soon. I won't be playing that since it's the same thing he's been saying on vaccines for a while. But then he gets into this getting COVID was a blessing from God stuff.
And that's what I want for everybody. I want everybody to be given the same treatment as your president, because I feel great. I feel like perfect. So I think this was a blessing from God that I caught it. This was a blessing in disguise. I caught it. I heard about this drug. I said, let me take it. It was my suggestion. I said, let me take it. And it was incredible the way it worked. Incredible.
So when Trump says that he feels perfect, that's, of course, really tough to believe when he's slurring with cotton mouth, looking bruised with his right eye swollen shut and struggling to breathe. But this idea that now that Trump has gotten the virus, he's over some hump and now he can really start dealing with it. It is an insult to everyone who didn't have the care that Donald Trump got in his 6-room suite at Walter Reed. It's an insult to everybody who died merely because, I guess up until now, Trump didn't really get it. And who had family members die and the entire thing. And as always, it's what's the phrase? A day late and a dollar short. This is more than that. This is 7 months late and 215,000 deaths too late. And we continue to be very skeptical that Donald Trump is actually healthy. And to be very clear, the speculation that Donald Trump is not doing so well, it's not about making fun of people who have coronavirus. It's not about anything other than they lie about everything, and the hypocrisy of saying Hillary had Parkinson's and Biden has dementia while obviously lying about the health of Donald Trump. The hypocrisy knows no bounds. And we're going to have more about this on the David Pakman Show Instagram page, which I hope you're following at David Pakman Show on Instagram. And we'll just have to see what Trump looks like by tomorrow. Again, seemingly bailed out on the debate because he doesn't want to do it remote. But we'll talk about that a little bit later in today's program. I'm really excited that one of our sponsors today is Helix Sleep. I sleep on a Helix mattress at home. I absolutely love it. And that's why I reached out to them about sponsoring the David Pakman Show. Buying a mattress in the past was always a huge guessing game for me. I didn't know what I actually needed. I didn't know what I would like. But Helix has a sleep quiz on their website. You tell them your body type, your sleeping position, your back pain issues you might have, and their tool matched me with a mattress that is perfect for me. It's cool enough at night. It's the right firmness. I generally just do way better sleeping these days because of the mattress. Helix was awarded #1 best overall mattress for the last 2 years by both GQ and Wired Magazine. It is well-deserved, I can tell you firsthand. Every Helix mattress comes with a 10-year warranty. You can try the mattress risk-free for 100 nights, and they will even come pick it up at your house if you don't love it. But I know you will. All of my viewers will get up to $200 off your order, and you'll get 2 super premium pillows for free when you go to the link right underneath this video.